radio, you got happy because that's your favorite song? Nobody? Okay. That's an anchor. The song, hearing the song was an anchor. You can put yourself in a positive mental state and do something physical. The best example I can give you is making a fist and squeezing. When you're thinking of something that gives you a positive mental, emotional state of joy, pleasure, excitement, that will anchor that emotion. If you do that enough, get yourself to think of something that's very exciting, anchor it. It'll be just like hearing the song, but you won't have to hear a song, you just have to squeeze your fist. The emotional state's back. Who has a fear or phobia that they'd like to be a volunteer for? What are you afraid of, though?
Heights.
In what instance would you be afraid of heights?
Roller coaster.
Have you gone on roller coasters before?
Yeah.
Why'd you go if you're afraid of heights?
I mean, just like to get over it, like the fear of like heights. Because I've been afraid of heights all growing up.
Okay, so you remember vividly the going on the roller coaster, going up the hill, and how scared you were.
Yeah.
Okay, so close your eyes. And then imagine yourself walking in to a movie theater, sitting down in the front row. And you are on the movie screen, and you going up the hill of the roller coaster is what you're watching. You there? Okay. Go from the front row, see yourself floating above the front row seat and going back to the balcony. So now you're from the balcony watching yourself in the first row, watching the screen of you on a roller coaster. You there? Okay, now make the picture of you on the roller coaster black and white. Now play it backwards where you're going down the upright. Now have a silly musical happening, a comical, as the background noise. Be there? You gotta concentrate. Now look at it going forward, going up the hill of the roller coaster, maybe at its peak level. Now go from the balcony down to the first seat, floating, getting out of the front seat, and going into the picture screen. So you're part of the movie now. The colors are bright, the music's playing. Play it backwards, play it forwards. Now go back to the front, your first row seat. Sit down, white out the screen, and open your eyes. How do you feel about that now? You do that enough times. This is all going to be online. This is one example. Actually, this is a good example. So you wouldn't say, you think about that right now, and are you afraid? Okay. Because you distorted the vision of what that means. Fear does not exist. There is no such thing as fear. It only is in your head. Who else is not afraid of roller coasters? What's the difference between these people and you? Nothing. They're not afraid. You are. It's in your head. You know, you could keep on going on roller coasters and then fall in love with them because you can get rid of the fear. What I just explained to you, you can do that several times. You'll never be afraid of roller coasters again or heights. You can break fears like that. Snakes, anything. You don't want to break fears of like a pit bull that's foaming at the mouth. But anything that's within reason, then yes, that's a very simple thing, a cure for fears and phobia, because fears do not exist. Okay, the secret of success is learning how to use pain and pleasure instead of having pain and pleasure use you. If you can control pain and pleasure, you will control your life. If they control you, you will not. That's Anthony Robbins' quote. Power of questions. People often ask themselves questions which directs their mental focus and search for an answer. The key is to develop patterns pattern of questions that empower you. The following questions are designed for you to experience more happiness, excitement, pride, joy, love. My favorite morning question is, what can I do to make today amazing? What can I do today to make it amazing? Do I get an answer right away? No. But my subconscious mind is going to work overtime to provide me with an answer of what I can do to make today amazing. What am I going to do today in order to create the tomorrow that I want? What am I going to do today to create the tomorrow that I want? What am I most happy about now in my life? What am I most excited about in my life? What am I proud of? What am I grateful? What am I enjoying? What am I committed to in my life right now? Who do I love? Who loves me? You can't be in a bad mood leaving the house if these are the questions that you ask yourself in the morning. It's impossible. If you're in a bad mood when you're leaving the house, it's because you had negative thoughts going through your mind about whatever happened the day before or whatever happened you think might happen that day, but it was a negative thought process. And that's why you ask yourself open-ended questions for expectations of answers. Can change happen in an instant? That's a question. Can change happen in an instant? Who answered that? No?
I say yes.
It can.
Yes. So that wasn't an instant with him, but he went from fear of roller coasters pretty quickly to, yeah. What is keeping you from achieving your goals? Let's assume you have goals. What is keeping you from achieving them? This is not a defeatist statement, or question. This is to let you know what your obstacles will be. There was a girl that stayed after class, and she brought up an idea to the teacher and myself, and we went over the obstacles to that goal. And she, we actually explained it to her like that. Well, these are the things that you're going to have to overcome. It was a good idea. We both told her that. But you want to know what your obstacles. You don't want to go in blind, trying to achieve a goal, but not knowing your obstacles. Our beliefs are designed to be the guiding force to tell us what will lead to pain, what will lead to pleasure. Goal setting. What's the most powerful computer in the world?
Your brain.
Well, did somebody say Mac? Okay. Who said brain? Okay, that's the right answer. The most powerful computer in the world is your brain. That's not even disputed. The brain is the most powerful computer. Use it to its full potential and challenge it often, which is ask serious, difficult questions, because your subconscious mind, not your conscious mind, your subconscious mind will do whatever it can to come up with answers. And it will supply you with the answers in its time, not the time period that your time frame you may want it, but the time period that your subconscious will come up with it. What's most important to me in my life? Great question to ask. What's most important to me in my life? What would you do if you knew you could not fail? I repeat that because it's an excellent question. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? Movies that I think are very motivational. The best movies that I've watched would be, number one, The Pursuit of Happiness. Anybody ever watch Pursuit of Happiness? If you watch that again and look at it as the motivational success achievement story that it truly is, that is amazing what he went through. And that was based on a true story, like Abraham Lincoln, but they made a movie out of it. You know, all of the difficulties, he never quit on himself. Invincible, Peaceful Warrior, Rudy. Rudy's one of my favorite movies. I don't know how many times I've watched that. Not that much talent, but he had a heart of gold. I would rather have somebody with desire or heart than talent any day of the week. And most coaches and business owners will say the same thing. And Limitless. Anybody see Limitless? Yeah. Limitless without the drug. You don't need the drug in Limitless to have that mindset, because that is ultimately something that most people can achieve that just because they believe anything's possible. Everyone has an inner voice. Your inner voice will always be questioning Whether you made the right decision or wrong decision with any decision, paring it down, train your inner voice to be positive. Train your inner voice to be positive, and if you can do that, when you do that, you can control your destiny. Three decisions that will control your destiny are what you focus on, what things mean to you, and what you need to do to create the results you desire. What to focus on, what things mean to you, and what to do to create the results that you desire. This is a story, or a poem I should say. 86-year-old Nadine Stair said it best. I always get chills whenever I read this, even though it's a good time today. It's a great poem. If I have my life to live over again, I dare to make more mistakes. Next time, I'd relax, I'd limber up, I'd be sillier than I've been on this trip. I would take fewer things seriously, I would take more chances. I would take more trips, I would climb more mountains, swim more rivers, I would eat more ice cream and less beans. I would perhaps have more actual troubles, but fewer imaginary ones. You see, I'm one of those people who is sensible and sane hour after hour, day after day. Oh, I've had my moments, and if I had to do it over again, I'd have more of them. In fact, I'd try to have nothing else, just moments. One after another, instead of living so many years ahead of each day. I've been one of those persons who never goes anywhere without a thermometer, a hot water bottle, a raincoat, a parachute. If I could do it again, I would travel lighter this time. If I had my life to live over again, I would start barefoot earlier in the spring and stay that way later in the fall. I would go to more dances, I would ride more merry-go-rounds, I would pick more daisies. 86-year-old Nadine Stair, that's the one huge benefit everyone, well, minus 3 of us, everyone in this room has is youth. Anybody that's 20 years older would rather you come back to now, okay? Youth is a great thing. You have your lives ahead of you. Learn from people like a Nadine Stair. Live your life. You know, live it with passion. How would you like to be remembered? As a giant amongst people? Start acting that way right now. Why wait to be memorable? Live each day as if it was the most important day of your life. You'll experience joy at a much higher level. I don't know about you, but I believe what's most important is not how long you live, but how you live your life. I think one of the greatest gifts our Creator has given us is the gift of anticipation and suspense. In the next few moments, something could happen that could change the entire direction and the quality of your life in an instant. You must learn to love change because it's the only thing that's certain, that things will change, and you have to embrace it. What can change your life? I hope this is the awakening you seek. So live in an attitude of positive expectancy, knowing that everything happens in life will benefit you in some way, shape, or form. Know that you are guided along a path of never-ending growth and learning, and with it, the path of everlasting love. If you'll use some of the strategies to increase the quality of your life that I've shared, then I would feel lucky indeed. I was extremely excited to come in here this morning to do this for all of you. And this is definitely going to be the highlight of my month, maybe my year, because I love giving back to a community that's been beneficial to me. I wasn't paid to do this. It actually, because I'm missing work, now I have to pay Norma to be here. I'm actually paying to do this because I believe what I've lived through, no one in this room probably would be able to have on me that they're coming from a more difficult time period. That's why I shared all of the difficulties that I've had growing up and all the obstacles that I overcame, because there is no excuse to not be successful. Anything that's happened to you, worse things have happened to other people that have become successful. And I'm not saying it has to be money, just you don't want to make excuses about your life. And it doesn't matter if other people don't think you can do something. Use it as motivation, because what is the sweetest success? What's the sweetest success? Massive success.
Don't you mean revenge?
I was kidding. Massive success. Okay, so questions and answers.
What'd you say you were again?
Financial
Financial.
planner. Yeah. One in 10 people in my business are gone in the first 2 years. 90% failure rate.
And you're that 10%, right?
Pardon?
You're that 10%?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, actually, not just me. My partner was going to be fired at Morgan Stanley when we were both working there. The ironic thing is he was actually in the World Trade Center when the plane hit. He was on the stairs down. They told him to go back up, and if he would have done that, he'd have been gone. He decided to play it safe, went down the stairs. When the plane hit the World Trade Center, he was actually in the building. But he was going to be fired for lack of production. I told him, do exactly what I say and exactly what I do, and I will make sure you're successful. He was successful. And then I took my nephew, 13, he's telling me he wants to be in the business. I was like, okay, we'll go to school. I can't, what do you want me to do now? But in Grand Valley State, he went to Grand Valley. I was like, get an internship in your freshman year. He's like, how am I gonna do that? I was like, do exactly what I'm gonna tell you and you'll get it. Parlay that into a better one with a full-time job offer after he graduated, turned it down. That was with the Hands Group. And then his third internship was with Waddell Reed. Before he graduated, they made him a full-time job offer because he did exactly what I was gonna say. I love to help people. And that's what I will tell you. You want to, whatever you want in life, find somebody that has it and ask them every single question you can of how they achieved it. Because people love to talk about their successes. Are you kidding me? No one's gonna have a problem with that. They'll give you the pathway to success by you just asking them how they achieved it. I didn't have that. I didn't have a mentor when I first got into the business. That's why it was very difficult. Having a mentor like myself, that would have made it a lot easier. So whatever you want, you find somebody that has it, and then you let them help you. You beg them to help you. All right, but that was a question. You weren't in here before, were you? All right.
Thanks.
Well, no, the teacher said people aren't going to ask questions, so I told them I'm going to ask you.
What would you say was the biggest influence to get where you are now?
The biggest influence to get where I was at. Anthony Robbins. When I first was doing the poultry cleaning, that broker told me that day, you need to read Anthony Robbins. I went out and bought that book, and then as soon as I started reading that, that's the reason I'm successful. Most of this is, I didn't cite the people that I, quoted in this, but a lot of it's Anthony Robbins. Anthony Robbins has read every motivational goal-setting book there is, and then he just puts it into, which he's like the guru of motivation, but he's just a phenomenal. But yeah, Anthony Robbins is the reason I'm successful, and I believe in myself as much as I do. They have to be legitimate questions for the dollars, guys.
Okay.
What, where, why, how?
Okay. Well, you said, correct me if I'm mistaken, but you said you didn't grow up with much money, right?
No.
How did you get through college?
I went to Macomb. I went to Macomb. I had to pay. I was working full time. I went to Macomb. And then the first semester at Wayne State, I was going for engineering. I didn't understand the computer class that I would have had to have passed. I got intimidated and quit.
Did you get any scholarships?
No,
Not at all.
no. I got a student loan debt.
I have a Benji.
No. Once a Benjamin. No other questions?
Where were you born?
That's not a dollar question. The east side of Detroit. You come up with another one and then I'll give you $1. It's gotta be a good question.
What do you look to do, like, in your future, like, as you get older?
I wanna be the best father always to my daughter. I want my business to be 100 million under management. I wanna be able to retire, have an option to retire in 10 years. Try